If you watched my previous videos about individual histories of B-17s, maybe you are wondering where I got the eyewitness statements. Well, the eyewitness reports can be found in the Missing Aircrew Reports, or MACR. In this video, I want to explain to you what the Missing Aircrew Report is and how you can use it for research. The Missing Aircrew Report is one of the most important documents for research about aircraft and crews missing in action. Missing Aircrew Reports are non-B-17 specific documents and were issued when the crew of the aircraft in the US Air Forces did not return from combat missions in enemy territory. For crashes in allied territories, other type of reports issued. For example, accident report. Missing Aircrew Reports were created when a crew member was missing, not the aircraft itself. For example, a crew member of a B-17 bailed out over enemy territory, but the B-17 returned to base. Then, a MACR issued for the crew member. Here is an example. MACR 1351, B-17F, serial number 425827. Navigator 2nd Lieutenant Harold B. Bailey fell out of the nose hatch on the 16th of August 1943. The B-17 returned to base. Or MACR 6517. 7 crew members bailed out and became prisoners of war. The pilot returned with the navigator, engineer and radio operator. And this is why some B-17s has more than one MACR issued. But we know that in most cases, if the crew failed to return, then so was the aircraft. Each MACR has a unique ID and starts with the number 1. The very first MACR, the MACR number 1, was issued for 2nd Lieutenant M. F. Blair when he went lost on June 8, 1943 during a ferry mission in the USA from Great Falls, Montana to Fairbanks, Alaska with his A-20G aircraft. He was declared dead. As you can see, the first Missing Aircrew Report was created on June 11, 1943. For all losses before that date, Missing Aircrew Reports were created much later before the 2-date deadline became standard, often even after the war was over. An example is the Missing Aircrew Report number 16427. The B-17 belongs to this MACR was B-17F 4124470, lost on January 3, 1943. The MACR was filled on 30th of July 1948, 3 years after the war. Later during the war, the MACR had to be submitted within 2 days after the aircraft or crew failed to return from a mission and their status became MIA, Missing in Action. The Missing Aircrew Report was usually created after a combat mission by interrogation officers. The report has at least one page with basic information, usually the first page of the report, but also can have several pages. I saw reports with over 70 pages and dozens of information to reading and analyzing. The pages with basic information were filled in the document type AFPPA 14. No information could be found what the abbreviation AFPPA means. I think something with Air Force. Rest is unknown to me. Sorry for that. These first pages contains the unit of the aircraft and crew, the weather conditions, date and target when the crew went lost, and the location where it was last seen. Of course, the serial number of the aircraft, and later a field was added for nickname, if known. In case the aircraft also is missing in action, which happened in most cases, you can find the information how the aircraft was lost. You also can find the serial numbers of the engines and machine guns, which were installed in the aircraft. A total number of persons aboard the aircraft with a full crew list with positions in the aircraft, rank of the crew members, full names, personal serial numbers, and their status. The most common status are MIA stands for Missing in Action, KIA stands for Killed in Action, POW stands for Prisoner of War, RTD stands for Returned to Duty, EUAS stands for Evacuated to the United States. DED stands for Declared Dead. This status DED was changed from MAA after 1 year and 1 day when nothing heard or found about the crewman. The complete list of status is in the video description below. And finally, in the pages of basic information, persons who last saw or heard about the aircraft or crew, if someone saw or heard something. That's about the basic information. So, depending on aircraft, crew and mission, there could be a lot of more information in the missing air crew report. The next facts are eyewitness reports and summary or remarks of the interrogation officer, what other crews saw and reported during the debriefing after a combat mission. Very often you can read the eyewitness reports of crew members who were on the same mission. Sometimes survivors reported what happened with the aircraft and crewmates who didn't make it back. The information about the missing single crew member were filled in the form AFPP11, called Individual Casualty Questionnaire. It was completed by a witness, for example, another crew member of the B-17. It contains the name, rank, serial number, crew position and more. For example, did he bail out? If not, why not? Was he injured? Where was he when last seen? Survivors of the same crew could explain in the casualty questionnaire form type AFPPA12 about himself and their own knowledge about the mishap. Like, where were you when you left formation? Did you bail out? Did other members of the crew bail out? Where did your aircraft strike the ground? And more about the other crew members. Other documents could be included in the missing air crew report are names and addresses of relatives, translated German documents, the KU report or ME report. A few words about the German reports. The Germans also documented the crashed aircraft in their territory, and translations are sometimes in the missing air crew report files. German documents contains information what happened after it crashed. I will explain the German KU report in one of my next videos. Back to missing air crew report, and here's my note about it. During my research for B-17s and their crews' histories, I have learned that the information in the MACR could be inaccurate sometimes or mixed up with different aircraft or crew. And when returned crews reported the location where the aircraft was last seen, it does not mean that the aircraft crashed in that area. The aircraft can still fly a long distance before it crashes. For example, B-17 4231600, nicknamed Pride of New Mexico. It was last sighted near St. Witz, Belgium, but flew approximately 50 kilometers or 30 miles and crashed 30 kilometers or 18.5 miles southeast of Aachen, Germany. Another example, B-17 Lucky Lady, last sighted southwest of Frankfurt, Germany, crashed east of Antwerp, Belgium, a distance of 275 kilometers or 170 miles. Again, it's good to know that often the location where the aircraft was last sighted is not the same location where the aircraft crashed. Keep this in mind when you do your own investigation. However, the missing air crew reports are still really good and important sources to start research about aircraft and crew of the US Air Forces. That's all for today's video. If you have any questions, please use the comment section below. Thank you for watching. And please subscribe if you are interested to more videos about B-17's history.